Yeah, bye.
Now, this this will be one area that's using T accounts that is probably a they expect that you understand this by the time you get to chapter 12, and you may not. And a T account is really just a way of classifying things between a debit and a credit to get to an ending balance. So it's a little difficult to explain unless you walk through an example. Let's see. Let me walk through an example of using a T account for a particular type of, let's do a bank account example. Okay, so let's do a bank account example. And I'm going to show you a couple of transactions on how they're typically recorded in a ledger, if you will, and then how they show up on a T account. Okay, so usually a transaction has a date, it has a count associated with it, it'll have a debit and a credit associated with it. All right, so let's say I sold on today was 425. I'll call it 401. Let's say I bought, let's say go back to my shampoo example from last time. Let's say I bought some material. I bought purchased, I'll put it down here. Usually you'll see it like this, purchased bottles, right? And so my purchase of bottles is going to go into inventory. I did this with cash, by the way. I'm going to do it just most of these examples all with cash. I went into inventory and then I came out of cash. So in my transaction, let's say I spent $100 worth of bottles and I spent $100 in cash. Now, the reason why it's a credit is because it decreases the cash account. And the reason why this one's a debit is because it increases the inventory account. You'll get into this a little bit more as you proceed, but this is a basic journal entry for purchasing bottles. And we'll put this in italics just to make sure it's clear this is a description. And then over here, we'll have something like a bank account. Let's call this a T account. Okay, it's a visualization of, and it's going to have a debit and a credit side. Okay, and the way this works, let me do a little underline here. We'll do a few transactions just to make it easy to follow. What I want, a left border, and let's put another underscore right there, bottom. Okay, and because a bank account has a normal balance, that is a column width, let's go 12, a normal debit balance. We'll put this in good old red, we'll do this green. This is the normal balance. That means that anything that is a debit to the bank account increases it. Anything that's a credit decreases it. So it's going to have this balance here, which is going to be the sum of all your debits minus the sum of all your credits. Okay, that's what a normal debit balance is going to look like. So this first one, we have a credit. Let's do a starting balance. Sorry, I'm gonna have an initial transaction before this. We'll make this insert reference. Usually I also have a reference. Let's just make this transaction number B. And A was on, I don't know, 331 or 330. And this was me I was investing in the business. So I'm gonna buy some of my own common stock. But I'm gonna do cash. Let's put $500 in here. And I'm gonna get common stock for that for 500. Okay, so, and we'll do a little reference over here just so we can keep track of this. So A was $500, right? $500 debit. And B was $100 credit here. Okay, so now our current balance is 400. Let's do another purchase. So I purchased bottles. In fact, I just made some stuff with my son not too long ago. But it was lotion. It was cream type thing. So we purchased some bottles. Let's buy some soap. So we bought some more soap. Let's do cash here. And let's say that the soap was $100. Let's make it a different number, 150. And it came out of cash for 150 purchased shampoo, let's say. And then, right, so this 150 is C, and this is here, okay? Then he and I, we actually, we combined the shampoo with the bottles, and he paid me, let's say, $20 to help him out with that. So on 4.3, he's salary expense. He paid me $20 to do that, and it came out of cash, so that's $20. So paid B. Lewis for assembly. That's not spelled right, so let's get that right. Assembly. Okay, so that came out of cash too. That's a D. Right, so this is $20 on the cash side. So right now we're down to 230 on cash. Ooh, okay. But on E, I sold on 4.4. I sold. Let's say I sold shampoo to, I don't know, Amazon. Let's just do that. And let's say I sold a bunch of it. I mean, I had each bottle was I sold 50 bottles for $10. How about that? Yeah. 50 bottles at $10 each. Okay. So what I would have is cash here, and I have revenue here. Okay. Because cash, I'm increasing it for 500, and my revenue is 500. Okay. So now my T count for the E is another 500, right? So now I have $730. But then I had to pay the tax man for sales tax that was incorporated in that. Let's say, on 4/30 at the end of the month, I had to pay tax expense, and it came out of cash. And so let's call that, how much was that? Let's call it 8% equals this revenue times 0.08, 8%, $40. So I paid $40 to the cash, to the tax man so $40. Okay, so these are all the transactions, and you'll learn more about how these work later on, and how they're constructed: reference, date, account, debit, credit, your account, and usually a description. And I forgot the description on this one, so let me just throw it in here for posterity's sake. B. Lewis invests. Actually, let's do this. This is my son's business, so A. Lewis investment. I'll call that the initial investment. Okay, and italicize that. There we go. So those on this was on sale. There we go. So now we have all of our journal entries, and this is our T account. Okay, this is how you capture all the different transactions in a nice summarized version to come up with the ending balance. This is the beginning balance. These are all the individual transactions and the ending balance. So when you go back here, this will make a little bit more sense for how they went from one thing to another on these different balances and changes. clear as mud, Al?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's
Okay,
really, yeah,
perfect. And the rest of this is just some analysis and we're all done.
it's good.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I think that's all I got. Any other questions you might have?
No, not at the moment. Yeah, thank you for going through all of this. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, the more I just tune into the tutorial, the more I get better, I think.
very good. All right. Well, you have a wonderful day.
Yes, thank
And
you. And you have a good night.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.